first half, and we'll have a look at it again because that first goal, beautifully finished from Marcus Rashford. Have you seen a better, well-worked free kick so far this season?
Well, I think it's just come down to coaching, you know, X's and O's, and I think sometimes we've seen a lot of great set plays, I think, this season, Tottenham in particular. But this one from Man United is fantastic there. You know, we've got Marcus Rashford highlighted at the top there. Erik's going to take the corner. But Bruno Fernandes is the one that's going to walk over into the shot and just have a little chat with Christian Eriksen there. And initially think he's going to come over for the short corner, but actually he decides to make his way into the box, and he just tells Christian Eriksen, just wait there. You know, he's obviously going to go over into the area where all the players are, and obviously this is a well-worked one. You know, they're trying to set up a little block then, aren't they, to free Marcus Rashford, work that space.
It's worked an absolute treat. I mean, it's one thing, mate, going on the training ground and setting these things up, but to get the timing right and to create the space like they do, and for it to come off, the finish has to be there. Varane goes first, you've got Martial blocking. Varane, I think, makes that little initial run as if he's going to be the one they're going to play it to, but Rashford comes back towards his own goal to make the space. Look there, and he comes in free as a bird. And what a lovely finish. Doesn't try and hit it too hard, just strokes the ball, and it's a wonderfully executed goal.
How much work on the training ground will go into putting a move into practice in the play?
Yeah, a lot. It would do, and it's about putting it in. You see, I've seen one that Chelsea did a similar one today, but the first man let it go through his legs, and the second one came on in the door. I can't remember who it was, and he skied it over the bar. So for it to come off, you get all these free kicks you put in together, and when they come off, as a coach and your staff and the players, you could see how they celebrated. It was like a real collective. It brings the team really close together, and the staff, because you've worked at something, you know, on the training ground, a set play. There's nothing like it when it comes off.
But a lot of it is also personnel. You know, you can do that with a Christian Eriksen because he passes the ball with so much care. A lot of people would, because that's quite a long way to pass that ball, a lot of people would hit that too hard and it'd bobble and it'd bounce. But because he hits it on the deck, it enables Marcus to make such an easy contact. Often you see that ball, don't you, Glenn? It bobbles in, but Christian is such a great passer of the ball.
I think with set plays nowadays, with pitches like this here, the surface is beautiful. You know, that on a bobbly pitch in the winter was tough on a poor pitch, but that can be done. A lot of teams that you've seen them do it. I mean, a lot of teams do that one where they shift, make the space, but it was lovely the way the balls come in there. But his execution was magnificent.
Okay, we can talk to the Manchester United captain now, who was very much part of that free kick as well. Bruno Fernandes waiting to talk to us live from Old Trafford. Bruno, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. How good does that feel, back with 3 points and 3 goals?
Hello to everyone. Obviously, it's really good. Come back to Old Trafford for the Premier League and win against a tough opponent. I think performance overall was really good. The result obviously was fantastic.
Now, we were just discussing that brilliantly worked free kick. Have you worked an awful lot as a team on that routine?
What free kick? The corner, you mean?
Sorry, the corner, yeah.
Yeah, we work it in a different way, but obviously because they came to defend with 2v2 on the corner, I went away. I was supposed to be there. The corner was supposed to be in the same way, but was no space, so I just make the run into the box to block the man from Rashford.
And what about the execution of it as well?
Obviously fantastic. We all know that we have players on that have the capability to do the pass as Christian did, and obviously Marcus can finish. We know that he can score many goals. So I think was perfect work for him, because he has the confidence, he has the shoot, he has the ability to do it, and everyone knew it. If he had the chance, he will score.
Hi Bruno, it's Owen Hargreaves speaking. The one thing I wanted to ask you about was Marcus, that finish he had, he actually didn't try and smash her and didn't hit it with power, did he? Often you see Marcus, he wants to strike the ball so hard. He just gets it on target. And when he seems to finish like that, it almost seems like it's always in the back of the net.
Yeah, but Marcus has a natural strength, so he doesn't need to hit the ball so hard. He knows that, but sometimes, obviously, if he hit it harder, is also difficult for the keeper. But I think we trained it yesterday, and he understood that was just a little flick on the ball, a little touch, and he could have a chance to score.
Bruno, it's Glenn Hoddle here. Just want to ask you a question about the midfield. Do you feel now with Eriksen and Casemiro and yourself that balance looks different to me? It looks so balanced, and you've got every angle, every sort of style of play covered.
Oh, I think it's a little bit unfair to the others one that are not playing at this moment, because then they can have a good part in this team. Donny came on, did really well. Fred get his goal. Scotty today was not here because he was ill. But I think these three that mainly have been played, they have such good qualities that can help the team. Obviously, different qualities than us three that start play today. But obviously, I think everyone is an amazing player that can have a big good part to help the team.
And overall today, you've got the 3 goals, particularly Fred's one to put the icing on the cake. You've threatened that in many games this season, but you've done it comfortably again tonight.
I think we could have done a little bit more comfortably, because we had the chances. Probably the shot or the last pass or something was not on point, but obviously 3 goals, 3-0, it's a perfect result.
And just finally, Bruno, the games are coming thick and fast now. You've gone within a point of the top 4, game in hand on Tottenham. Can this continue the momentum after the break?
No, we have to focus game by game. We know how tough is the Premier League. We have to go away to Wolverhampton. That we know that they have a good team. I know them very well. They probably speak more Portuguese than our national team. So it's always a tough game against them there. Good qualities. New coach, so we all know that whenever a new coach comes in, is confidence. They won in the last minute, so they will be on fire. But I think this result can help us to have more confidence and understand if we do what we have to do, we can win games.
Very well played tonight. Thanks very much indeed again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Bruno Fernandes, the Manchester United captain, live for you at Old Trafford. United, of course, in January have to play both Manchester City and Arsenal. But let's get back to tonight. Rashford, we know the goalkeeper should have done better for 2-0, but Rashford had a big part to play in Martial's goal.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was going to ask, if we had a bit more time, I was going to ask Bruno about exactly this. The fact that, this ball here over the top is exactly what, these guys can play that ball. Marcus and Anthony Martial, they just need to be in these positions and get on the end of these things, because with Casemiro initially winning the ball, but he's the one, he can play that pass. Christian Eriksen can play that pass. Bruno Fernandes, but it shows also what a leader he is. He didn't want to throw any, McTominay or Fred under the bus there. The fact this is their midfield 3, and this is the reason why they might be a top 4 side. But if those midfield 3 can create and play the balls, Marcus today and Anthony Martial were brilliant at just staying high and making forward runs. These top players will get you the ball, and that summed it up on that goal from Anthony Martial.
Yeah, you give these, particularly those 3, you give them time and space on the ball to look up and play forward. As I said earlier, they need pictures, and Rashford there, Marcus Rashford, he knew Aurier was out of position for a split second, bang, he was gone, and the ball's delivered on his toe. The rest he has to do himself, and he did it brilliantly, laid in the lovely pass, waiter pass, so that Martial could take it first time. And I think that's what caught the goalkeeper. Hennessy his body weight was going one way, but he's took it early because the ball was nicely played. And I think they've got that as a real major asset. I think there's going to be games when that could come in to play much more for United, when they're playing against better teams, and they can hit teams on the break. If they have to suffer a little bit with possession against them, and they've got that asset, and they've got also, if they control a game, they've got possession people, what I call possession of the ball, the midfield 3, they know how to cope with that ball. And Casemiro really has changed that midfield.
He was flawless today, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's changed that completely for me. He reads the game so well. We were saying, he hardly has to run. He just picks off the right positions, gets the ball, and then defensively, he just picks up cute little positions, covers people. If fullbacks go, he's the next one that comes across and just cuts things out. So a terrific asset to the team. A lot of money for his age. What was it, 70 million? But you can see what he's doing on the pitch for them.
And one of our friends in the studio, who's a United fan on cameras, thinks it's Owen Hargreaves was the last player that United had like that, Glenn. Would you go along with that?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I mean he's obviously seen United more than I have over the years. But yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, Owen was a similar player. Could do the the defensive work and astuteness of that, but use the ball intelligently. And that's what Casemiro does.
That's why they're the highest paid players, in the team.
I think he's making a few more quid than I did, I think, Casemiro. But you know what I like about Casemiro? He does his job, first of all, defensively, but he always looks forward to pass the ball. And the thing is, he got played a couple balls today. There were terrible passes into him, but he's always available and he always has a solution. And that's the biggest difference now with Casemiro there, and then you got Eriksen and you got Bruno. You got three that you can play them the ball at any time. No criticism of McTominay or Fred, but this three, they provide a different capacity to pass the ball forward. They can control games better. You think about United before, it was always on the counter-attack and they didn't really control games. Now you can see they can control games.
I think that midfield, I think the back four, whoever it is for United, are quite happy to have them playing in front of them. And I think the front unit are very happy to have that midfield players that they know they can pick passes, they can put things on a plate if needs be. So both units now are linked with this nice balance. That's what the question I asked Bruno, really. And he, as you rightly said, he was going to go about the squad. Of course he was. But for me, it looks like a perfectly balanced midfield now. They've sorted it out. Whereas maybe when Pogba was there, they never quite, fabulous player, but they never quite sorted the balance. You need a good balance in midfield. Have a good balance in midfield, you normally have a good team. That's where I think Liverpool were fantastic over the last few seasons. Maybe not quite as much. You might see them go in the market to get that central midfield sorted out. When they do again, they're going to be back to their best. So I think it's so important, and I think those back players will go, oh, I'm quite happy with this midfield. They'll work hard defensively, and the attackers are saying, oh, yeah, just make runs, the ball's on a plate.
Casemiro made the most tackles on the pitch tonight. I know Emmanuel Dennis didn't cover himself in glory on a number of occasions, particularly for the third goal, but that reading of the game that you're talking about was evident here.
Well, he knows this is coming because Dennis played 10 minutes before this, exactly the same, led to a counter-attack and almost scored. And Casemiro, it's not so much about tackling. I think poor players tackle, they go to ground too much. Casemiro, he reads that and he anticipates where the ball's going to be, and then the weight of the pass for Fred is perfect. So I love the fact, this is what a top defensive midfield player should do. Yeah. Read the game, play the ball, get in the right position, and then pass it into Fred. I love that goal. That's exactly why you sign him.
And that comes with experience. When he was a young kid at 18, 19 playing, he wouldn't have seen that. He's on his bike. He's
5 Champions Leagues later, he will.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. He's looking at Dennis and he knows exactly where the lad's going to play it. And he's actually on his bike. He knew he was going to play it before Dennis knew he was going to play it. He's actually on his bike going forward to cut it out. And as the ball's played, bang, he nicks in and then he just sets it up beautifully.
You make a good point about, it's not a coincidence guys like that win 5 Champions Leagues. I know he's playing at a good side with Modric and Kroos. But if you have a guy like Casemiro who probably wins, I'd say, on average, say 5, 10, interceptions like that a game, that means you're going to get, Bruno Fernandes or Christian Eriksen or Marcus 5 or 10 extra reps in terms of creating goal-scoring opportunities. And that's exactly what a top player like that gives you. He gets the ball to the guys that go and win you the game. And he'll do it 5 or 10 times more. So if you give these guys like Kevin De Bruyne 5 or 10 extra reps, or Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, those guys will hurt you. And that's why Casemiro, every team needs a guy like that to go and win Champions League trophies, because turnover possessions and transitions are one of the most important parts of top football. We saw it at the World Cup. The teams that won were almost all on the counter-attack. And Casemiro does that as good as anyone.
And the key to it as well, Ian, is that when you actually anticipate and you read it and you nick the ball off him, particularly in the middle third, like he did, your opponent, you're open. You've got possession 1 second. You're trying to get into attacking positions, like fullbacks on the other side of the pitch are charging forward because they think they're in possession. Suddenly the ball's nicked. And that's why Fred had so much time and space to finish. It's a good finish, by the way. But as you're playing it in, the right back for Forest was way up the pitch because he's thinking it's safe. Suddenly Casemiro reads it, bang, and they're in and they're penetrating right in behind you. So it's a wonderful thing that gives you that space and time for those attacking players because the other team are thinking they're in possession. Suddenly they're not. And the handover, forward pass, you normally get in.